I got even more than I hoped for.
Oh.
I can't read this. This is bad. Day 1 of a 7-day cruise. Well, there you go.
Well, that sounds great.
Does it? Depends on where you're going.
Enjoy your cruise.
Day 1 of a 7-day cruise, and everyone is boarding and trying to get their bearings and general orientation of the ship. My wife and I asked for directions to our cabin so we could drop off the few small bags we carried on with us. As the crew member who was stationed near the lobby area of the elevators gave us directions, another guest and his wife overheard us as they passed by, and I then heard the gentleman say to his wife, "How stupid do you have to be to not understand that if your cabin number starts with a 7, it means your cabin is on deck 7?"
What a tool.
Oh.
I let that one go. We all waited for the next available elevator, and when it arrived, a few people hopped on, including the asshat that mumbled about us being stupid for inquiring about the location of our cabin.
She called you an asshat.
As my wife and I gathered our bags to join them, I asked for someone to hold the doors, but was greeted by the same voice declaring, "Sucks to be you." Who's this grumpy person?
Wow.
And watched as he purposely reached for the elevator floor buttons, encouraging the doors to close in our faces.
I hate that guy.
Taking the next elevator, we made it to our cabin and dropped off our bags and got acquainted with our room. I noticed how simple the remote control to the generic flat screen television was. Very basic. And for some reason, that struck me as interesting for such a luxurious ship.
Oh.
We left the room and went up to the Lido deck for a quick lunchtime buffet. It was there that I saw Mr. Asshat again and decided that I would really like to know where their cabin was located. I did not know at the time why. I just figured that that information would probably be good to have. So I followed them undetected until I discovered the location of their cabin. Oh, this guy he's turning into Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget!
They were one floor below our floor and nearly in the same position, but on the opposite side of the ship. My wife and I spent a lot of time in casinos, and this trip was going to be no different. So after dinner that night, we freshened up for a long night gambling that would most likely not end until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. While waiting for my wife to get ready, I began examining that remote control again, and I deduced that those overly simple TV remotes were probably the same in every cabin, and as such, the remotes would probably work on any TV on the ship if they were brought close enough. Oh,
Interesting.
you know what he did?
Oh, I'm getting an idea.
I put that remote control in my pocket, and we went to the casino. At approximately 3:30 in the morning that night, I tested my theory.
Oh.
I visited the door of Asshat's cabin and pressed the remote control against it and hit the power button. And to my delight, the television sprung to life. Inside their cabin, I could see the blinding light of it from under the door. The volume buttons worked just as effectively as the power button, and the volume on their TV reached maximum level in a quick second. I listened as the startled people jumped from their bed and scrambled to find their own remote to shut down the disturbance. It was my pure bliss for 7 straight nights to shock them from their slumber with no one the wiser.
That is so delicious. It's got to be fattening. Wow.
This is like an adult version of what we did as kids when you knock on someone's door and run.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. My girlfriend and I went abroad on a 2-week vacation last month. We were in a long-term relationship, and I did plan to propose to her sometime in the coming months. During the vacation, I planned to spend a day with my close childhood friend who lived in this city. However, the next day, when my girlfriend and I reconvened, she seemed really regretful and she cried a lot. She admitted that the previous night she had gone to a club, she kissed a guy who then later took her to his apartment and they had sex.
Oh, plot twist.
Oh,
She seemed really remorseful, but that was obviously the end of our relationship. There was only 1 day left in our vacation, and I canceled her flight back home since I had booked and paid for it.
The devil made me do all the shit that I did.
I did not tell her about it until the last minute, since I was not on speaking terms with her anymore. She was really worried and she didn't know what to do since she was in a foreign country. She does have severe anxiety and is on meds and panics a lot. And I didn't feel too great about canceling the flight, but I did it to protect my mental peace. The last I saw of her was at the hotel reception when I had booked my taxi to go to the airport. I then blocked her number. A couple of weeks later, I got a call from her mother, who was really angry with me. They had to pay a really exorbitant amount and booked a last-minute flight to get her back home. She is apparently a mess now, and it was a really horrifying time for her. I told her mother I didn't feel great about it, but that my ex-girlfriend and I had no connection anymore, and I had no obligation to worry about her. So was I the a-hole? Agreed.
Yeah, cringe. The petty me is all about that life. Cancel the flight, don't tell them, block the number, figure it out, boo. But when you started saying like, oh, and then she has on meds. I mean, he owes her nothing. He owes her nothing. It'd be
Agreed.
different if he was about to buy the ticket and he said, I'm not buying now. You figure it out. That's fine. But you've already paid for it. To cancel it is petty. You both have to get back. Taking a separate taxi to the airport, fine. Protect your peace. On the plane, ask to switch seats with somebody, that's fine. But canceling the flight, that's ridiculous. That's mean. I
Or,
mean,
or even,
but she's also cheated. That's also mean. I don't know.
she was absolutely wrong to do that.
Right.
But understanding about her mental condition doesn't make it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it does explain a little bit more. There's something else going on. And also, rather than cancel the flight, find another flight for her. So you don't have to be on the same flight, but just canceling it in a foreign
Or
country.
or keep her on her flight and you can leave earlier. Change your flight earlier.
Yeah.
Or if it's too
Yeah.
expensive, just go separate cars to the airport and just don't talk to her on the plane. Put your
Yeah.
sunglasses on like I do, your little hood, and go to sleep.
Yeah. There's a lot of blame here, but yeah,
Yeah. That's
she
cringe.
chose to do something bad and you chose to do something really bad as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
Look at us agreeing.
Oh.
Okay, so I did something that might be a little too petty. You let me know. A friend of mine let me know that his wife had been cheating on him for 6 months and had no intentions to end the affair. She's somebody who I had considered a friend at one time. He let us know. He's like, hey, do you mind helping me move out while she's at work? So I drove over, packed up all his stuff. We made sure not to touch anything that was hers. But as soon as everything was packed up, I went to the bathroom and I took all the toilet paper. Like all of it. Like I took everything that was on the roll. I took all the backups. Like I took everything. And I realized that in the grand scheme of things, she's probably not going to notice it when she comes home and like half of their stuff is all missing. But she'll notice it when she needs it.
That's pretty cool.
Agreed.
It was harmless, well, essentially until she needs the toilet paper. It was kind of harmless, it wasn't like I stole her valuables and I threw all her food in the trash. I took the toilet paper.
You don't get to see, the best revenge is when you're actually able to see it, not the time of panic when, you're doing your business and you're like, where's the toilet paper?
I have a story.
Uh-oh.
Kids, gather around!
Let me tell you a story.
I like where this is going, maybe.
When I was living in the city where you are living now, and we worked at that job, and I have an ex in that city at the time. I found out that he was like living a lie just by accident. And one of our coworkers, who's a dear friend, helped me get my sweet revenge. Nothing illegal.
Not technically.
But this man that I was dating, he had tenants in his home in Virginia. I chose to drop all of his belongings that he still had at my home with his tenants in the snow on a cold Sunday morning. I found the tenants on Facebook and said, "Hi, we met. I was dating your landlord. He's a scumbag now.
What a scumbag.
Scumbag.
I'm coming to drop some stuff off." And they were like, "Girl, it's fine. We'll open the garage." And the tenant was like, "Girl, you're better than me. I would have left it on the curb." This is the tenant. And lo and behold, an hour later, my phone rang. And I didn't answer. He was furious. "How dare you embarrass me in front of my tenants? My neighbor saw."
Oh.
"Well, tell your neighbor, hey, girl, hey." "Was she on the list of people you were cheating with?" "The neighbor." Probably. But yes, that was my very cool revenge. I didn't harm. No one was harmed, but an ego.
But he was embarrassed.
Petty Betty, party of one. My ex and I married young. I was totally devoted to her, and to be fair, she had a lot of love to give. The only problem was that she gave it to anyone, usually while I was away at work. Girl.
Yikes.
She's a tramp with no morals.
She wasn't happy being with a broke college student and decided to, her way into another relationship that could provide her with more money. I came home early to find a dude old enough to be her father.
Red alert. Red alert! Red alert!
I can't read this. This is bad. We can't say this.
Let me go try to fix it.
I came home early to find a dude old enough to be her father spooning his soft serve diabetic spoon into my wife.
Spoon.
I went to see a lawyer the next morning and we got divorced less than a year after we married. I naively thought that this would be the end of our interactions. We did not have kids or assets to fight over, so we had no reason to ever see one another again. Except she wouldn't go away.
Go away.
Leave.
Scram.
Over the next few years, she made my life miserable. My career took off and I started a small freight company. I wasn't rich by any means, but I was making a little bit of money. And the ex felt entitled to a cut by virtue of our brief union. She would contact me at random times, threatening lawsuits if I didn't give her what she was owed, as she put it. Now, that's not how divorce works, of course, because, girl, this all happened after you. But she figured she would harass me into a payout to make her go away. I ignored her threats and negative social media posts, and they eventually dwindled down to occasionally driving past my house on holidays when she was in town to visit her parents. A few more years go by. The loser she cheated with is long gone from a heart attack, leaving her to raise their kid alone. Now, that was a bit of an extreme measure to get away from her, but I understand. She moves away to the other side of the state, and that could have been the end of it, but I decided to thumb my nose at her one last time. I learned through a friend of a friend that her kid is going to start Little League the next season. I'm a big believer in supporting youth sports, so I contact the league and sponsor a team in her community via my company, which happens to include my first and last name in the title. The idea was that her son's team would play my team that I sponsored once or twice that season, and she'd have to sit in the stands with nothing to do except be pissy about it. By some stroke of good fortune, I got even more than I hoped for.
Ooh.
You see, players in that league are drafted to teams at random. And guess who got assigned to the team I sponsored? Every game, every post-win pizza party, every time she washed her kids' gear, she was surrounded by a sea of uniforms with my name, transportation, blazing on the front in big letters. And that, my friends, was a good summer.
Love it, love it, love it.
He's my kind of petty.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Ooh.
If there was something higher than cool, like cold, I would write that down.
That, my friends, was frigid.
Frigid. I love it.